Here we go. We're on. Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Together Live. We've got Grant, Deano, and special guest Jamie Leggett tonight. We're going to have a brief chat about some football stuff, and then go on to a little mental health talk. Say hello, boys. Deano, start with you. Deano, say hello.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Gonzo.
Wave with this hand.
Hello, people. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Jamie.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me on, Jamie Leggett. Cheers for inviting me.
Jamie Sandon.
Who? Jamie Sand's on. Yeah, I've got him. You don't need to hear him. Right, lads. Okay, first of all, just wanted to address a bit of football. What's going on lately? Obviously, in the Premier League, we've watched some crazy results lately. Going to get right into it. I mean, this Arsenal result yesterday, Arsenal-Chelsea, was unbelievable. Jamie, I want to hear what you've got to think about yesterday's result.
To be fair, he was pushed into making the changes, wasn't he? Because of COVID. So he can thank COVID, can't he?
Yeah. So there were some Arsenal players out for COVID, though, wasn't there?
Yeah. So they had symptoms. I don't know if they've been positive or not, but they had symptoms. So basically, the two Brazilians, obviously, David Luiz and William, both of them were out with symptoms, and also Gabriel, the centre half. So they was all out, and they've had a lot of criticism, haven't they, lately? All apart from Gabriel, but the other two have had a lot of criticism lately. So he was pushed into really making changes yesterday. Would he have made them? You don't know, because he brought back in Bellerin, and he brought back in Xhaka, who have let him down time after time, haven't they? So he's had a lot of criticism for playing these players, even though he's got the youngsters there. But for whatever reason, it worked yesterday, and he was pushed into playing some of the youngsters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think watching it, I just think they came out like they wanted it. Chelsea just looked lethargic, and they just put it on them from the first minute. They just stuck it right on them, and you could tell that's what Lampard said in an interview. They've gave them a yard straight away from kickoff. They've given them a yard instantly, and they've just capitalised on it. You know,
they probably see the lineup as well. Obviously, hearing them all out, and they probably thought they're struggling as it is. The youngsters coming in, they may have underestimated them a little bit, but they shouldn't have, because a lot of them probably know the youngsters coming in, because they've probably played in the under 21s against them and stuff like that. So they're all good enough to come in and do a job. And the youngsters come in and they shined yesterday, really. So good for them, but obviously, not for Chelsea.
I think Grant is a Liverpool fan, avid Liverpool fan. Always liked a bit of Liverpool. Charlton as well. He used to support Charlton as a kid, but he always had his love for Liverpool. What do you think of Liverpool this season, Grant?
Yeah, we'll talk about Liverpool. We won't talk about Charlton.
But we missed someone like Shaqiri.
What did you say, Grant?
We looked all right tonight in the first half, but we missed someone like Shaqiri just to open them up. But they look good, but I think we need someone like Shaqiri or Coutinho that can just do something different. We're relying on too much on Andy Robertson and Trent being the spark.
It's probably the injuries, isn't it, as well? Like, obviously, the injuries are not helped as well, but
being a crate fiddle.
Thiago, you haven't seen much of him, obviously, but he's a world-class player, isn't he? So,
yeah, I like Thiago. For me, he's one of. I mean, I've always liked him. I'm not sure why he hasn't featured too much. Is he injured?
He's injured. He's been injured ever since he got rattled by Richarlison against Everton.
Yeah,
and he's been injured ever since.
He came over. He had COVID.
Yeah,
for 2 weeks. Then he played. Came again.
Obviously, but he's a world-class.
Yeah, I can't believe how I just got, player like that coming over as a United supporter myself. Seeing a player like that come into the Premiership for Liverpool scared the life out of me. I'm glad he hasn't featured much, but you love to see him play, don't you? Deano, what do you think? You're another Liverpool supporter. What do you think of the Liverpool team?
All these Liverpool fans coming out of the woodwork, by the way.
They all supported Chelsea last year, Jay.
Well, you know my history in Liverpool.
Yeah,
it's been it's been a lot of hurt. I was a little bit upset that there wasn't any change in the transfer window, in the summer transfer window, and I was actually hoping that they would have got rid of Salah.
You don't like him?
I'm not a fan. I don't like him at all. He's so selfish, and yeah, he does score a couple of goals, but I think for the amount of selfish decisions he makes, that kind of cancels out the goals that he scores.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think the team would actually do better without Salah than with him.
Yeah.
So January transfer window, I would actually be happy if we got rid of Salah and we brought someone else in.
I don't think that will happen.
There's a couple of players that we're looking at.
Salah sounds like
I'd be happy if they got rid of him.
If anything,
like a saga to me.
Yeah, it's going to be a saga, 100%.
There's a lot of rumours, obviously, that he may go maybe next summer. So
that's going to be a 3 months. Yeah. Every day looking at the papers. If he's gone, they're going to be back and forward negotiations. That is going to be a big old saga. He's going to end up going for loads of money to someone, Salah. There is talk of Grealish, isn't there?
I think he'll be.
There was talk of Grealish.
Yeah, there is talk of Grealish, but there was. I think from what I remember, there was some talk of some high-profile players like Mbappe. Apparently, he's a Liverpool fan as well. Well, it looks like he'll end up going to Real Madrid along with Salah.
Ooh, that'd be quite. Who do you support then, Jay?
We won't talk about the Championship.
Oh, that's all right. Proper team then.
Millwall.
Millwall. That's all right. We always need a Millwall fan. One of our lads, Lucan, is a loose Millwall fan. He just goes for the trouble, we believe. He just likes ag. He just loves a bit of ag.
Yeah.
And now
Lucan, yeah.
Yeah, he loves a bit of ag. I mean, so what do you reckon? Who do you reckon's going to finish top 4? Let's start with you, Jamie.
Well, top 4.
Premiership top 4. That is.
I think Liverpool will still go on and win it.
Yeah.
I think Man City, Tottenham, and I think it's either between. It's one of 3, but I won't sit on the fence. But I'll go with Man United.
Yeah, I hope so. I think consistency is our problem. It's our main problem. I mean, it's the same at Arsenal and Chelsea. It's just consistency, isn't it? Like the consistent teams win the league. That's just how it is. That's how Leicester won it. It's just they were consistent. Their performances were consistent from the end of one season through pre-season into the next season. It was absolutely consistent all the way along. And it didn't really surprise me when Leicester won it because of just how they operated as a machine. They just done one. They went on the pitch, done one thing.
They all knew their jobs and they was all organised and they was consistent, wasn't they, with their team selection? To be fair to them, they didn't really have a lot of injuries, which helped as well. Yeah. It depends on the injuries as well, and you're more likely to get injuries now in this season than any season because you look at Liverpool, you look at other clubs as well, but the amount of games people are trying to schedule in, and the amount of turnaround time, even though they're professionals and that, the body just can't take it.
Nah, the body it's really, really tough. What about you, Grant? Top 4?
Well, I'm going to stick with my team, obviously Liverpool top.
Yeah, sensible, I think, at this point.
I think they've gone about themselves really quietly. Man City last few weeks, they're licking like 2-0s and 1-0s
Little
and whatever
results
else.
here and there.
Yeah, and they haven't been built up like massively. They haven't been spoken about massively. So I think they'll go second. Then I think it'd be United because I think they'll find some consistency.
That's all it is, mate.
And I would like to see Leicester nick the fourth.
Yeah.
But I've got a funny feeling Spurs might nick it if they, because it's just Mourinho, innit? He just knows how to do it.
Yeah, he's got that little knack of building he knows how to win a game of football, doesn't he? Like he knows how to win it. It's not his plans might not work every time, but like, he knows how to win a game of football.
He can win a game pretty if it ain't against a team that's near him, like Wolves, Leicester. Yeah. He knows how to win a game not pretty like that. But he also can do pretty against lesser teams.
Yeah. I mean, again, like with United, I love Jose. I've loved him since he was with Chelsea. I've followed his whole career. Always enjoy watching his teams because I know what an horrible winner he can be. And I'm quite like that myself. I'm quite like that myself in football. I'll pretty much, if we've got to beg and rob and steal to win, I'll pretty much do it. I'm not that bothered. I'm not worried about the pretty game. What about you, Deano? Top four.
Oh, the top four. I don't want to jinx Liverpool, but yeah, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. Liverpool, City. I don't know. City they're not looking too great. They are looking a little bit shaky, but I'll probably say City second, United third, and two teams for fourth. I'm on the fence with these two teams: Chelsea or Everton.
Everton, yeah. Mate. Surprise package.
Yeah. Yeah, they're sitting right now. They're sitting second, and they've had a bit of a good start. So I'm looking at it just at this kind of point in time. I'm going to say probably Chelsea. If not Chelsea, it'll be Everton.
Yeah, I think Everton are a surprise package this season. Definitely getting again some consistency. They actually look like they're going about their business in a certain way. That, you know what I'm saying? They're not just going out and playing. They've got a style to them these days, which has been really good for us to see. My top four, pretty much. I'm going to go with Liverpool. Top. I think Liverpool, as the educated guess, are gonna win it.
How much does it hurt to say that?
Horrible. It's the worst. But Liverpool top four. Liverpool going to win it again. I think they're not as strong as they was last season, but you find that because teams figure teams out, don't they? They've only still lost one, maybe, but teams figured other teams out, didn't they? Especially after that first season. But I just think Liverpool have got too much in too many positions. Their first 11 is fantastic. I've never been a big fan of Henderson. I don't think their midfield is the strongest, but again, they go about doing their job. And they're a classic mixture of like a well-oiled machine with the lesser players, but then they've got that, that talent of like the Mane, Firmino, Salah.
It's 1-0 Tottenham, by the way.
Is it 1-0 Tottenham? Bloody hell.
Already,
bruv. I'm watching it on the Sky app and it's... Oh, wow.
1-0.
He just watched.
No, I'm a bit behind.
Ledombre.
I stream this stuff.
He's streaming. You're well behind, mate.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm watching it on the Sky Sports app.
Oh, great goal. Oh, it's a bad goal, though.
Nah, keeper. Got to do better.
Dombele. But yeah, I do think United...
my dream team as well.
United, Tottenham, City, and Liverpool to win it, I think. I think that's just how it's going to be.
United.
But, I want to hear a bit more from our guest, Jamie. We just sort of jumped into a bit of football. Jamie, will you just tell us a bit about yourself, mate, and what you're up, what you've been up to, and
Yeah, so for the ones what obviously are tuning in now or watching it back, I'm Jamie Leggett. Yeah, daytime job is I work with special needs kids and in special needs school. Um, so that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. Since lockdown, I've been doing a lot of mental health chats called Let Us Talk live. It started literally just on, just having a couple of guests on, just talking about how they thought about mental health, and I didn't realize how much it was gonna like shoot and do how many guests I've had on up until this point. So up until this point, I've had over I think 120 guests on.
Wow.
Wow.
From different majority of them
I
obviously
would say well,
through
but I can't hear nothing.
He can't hear nothing.
majority of it through through obviously football, but there has been other people what have come on. I've had women on as well talking about their struggles and their what they've gone through. Also, I had a special guest on, which was oh, it was many special guests to be fair, but the highest profile one was Taj Jackson, which
Yeah,
was obviously Michael Jackson's nephew.
that's
He was
fantastic.
on literally for
Oh wow.
normally, yeah, normally it only lasts for a normal session. What I normally have on a live, I have probably about four guests,
Yeah,
and normally they're 15, 20 minutes long. So it normally lasts only about an hour and a bit for them. If I do a special on one person, which I was doing over the first and second lockdown, normally they last for about an hour just on their own experiences,
yeah,
what they've gone through. So normally that lasts. But Taj's ended up being so obviously so popular and so many questions. It ended up 4 hours long.
no.
Um, yeah,
Oh
so
my
that's on my YouTube
Wow.
channel. But he ended up with like 4 hours long because obviously he was going into obviously everything to do with Michael Jackson, basically what he could do. Obviously, there's still a fight against it and stuff like that, so he could only talk about certain parts of it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
um, yeah, it was a great experience. Obviously, talking to him. That was through obviously my girlfriend who. Actually met him when she went to a premiere, and they stayed in contact
wow, that's
and stuff like
mental.
that. So yeah, so it was good with that. That's what I've been doing. I'm also um, England six-a-side manager. I've been to two World Cups. The first World Cup I was actually Scotland manager, where
Yeah,
I'd been but yeah, I was Scotland manager, but I was Scotland manager for 6 years.
that's
So
mental.
I was Scotland manager for 6 years, and I'd been to European Championships with them and the World Cup in Portugal the first year, and
Yeah,
then the last year I was England manager, so I took over that after the World Cup in Portugal, and I went to Crete as England manager last year. I also do Milan Beatty squad
yeah,
YouTube channel this year, or the team. I do that with Justin. I'm assistant manager there. Justin Gardner, who is manager of Barking on a Saturday as well.
yeah.
We're doing that. He's the original founder of the other team. We don't really talk about them,
Nah,
um, but
nah.
we don't talk about them. So yeah, but he's the original founder with a couple of the others. What are still with them. So yeah, we've been having a successful season this year. We've only got 3 or 4 players left from the squads from the previous seasons.
Wow.
Um, so we're looking to obviously win the league again. They've actually won it under the name of Milan Beatty squad for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So this would be the 5th year, and that hasn't been done since about 1950 in that league. So
Wow.
hopefully we can go on and win that. We've put ourselves in a good position at the moment. We've won all our games in the league. We're still in the London Cup as well. The last 16 of that, which is
Yeah.
meant to be played at the end of January. So yeah, we're unbeaten at the moment since I've been there
That's
in
fantastic.
pre-season as well. So hopefully we can build a side. We said at the start of the season, we feel like we're come up short in the London Cup because there's such strong teams in there and they're established teams.
Yeah,
But you never know. If we win our last 16, then we're in the quarterfinals. So we'll wait and see from there. You know what I mean? So,
that's unbelievable. What's the so many questions. So with the Scotland six-a-sides team, is that
yeah.
Scottish players in England? So you have
No,
knowledge of them?
what happened was obviously, first of all, I went as chief scout. So basically, I play 5 and 6 aside up and down the country as well. So
Yeah,
through like the tournaments,
Wow.
what are held at either goals, power league,
yeah,
and leisure leagues, which is the main founder and the main backer of the England six-a-side, the Scotland six-a-side, the Wales
okay.
six-a-side. So you can see it on my thing here, leisure
Yeah,
leagues. They provide everything for us. I played tournaments up and down the country for over about 10 years, 11
right,
years now. And that's from a team I've before it was a team called All Stars, what I played for, was quite successful with them. And then the last, say, 8 years, I played for a team called International, which was founded out of Woolwich Adventure Playground, basically.
right.
The manager of that team, he enters the tournaments, and we go as a group as players, and we go and play these tournaments. So I ended up getting a job as chief scout for the Wales, the Scotland, and the England teams because I
Right.
knew all these players from the tournaments,
Yeah,
so I could recommend them into the thing. When
yeah,
we went to the first European Championship, Scotland never had a manager. So they obviously I knew them. So they asked me. I was going to the European Championship. So they said, "Would you be the interim manager just for the tournament and stuff like
yeah.
that?" So I said, "Yeah." And we ended up reaching the quarter final. And we beat Russia on penalties after a 3-3 draw
Oh,
in the last in the last 16, but they had come third the year before. Then
okay.
we played Romania, who had never lost a game, and they was like defending champions for like 5 years, and
Yeah.
we ended up losing 3-2 in the end. But it was like
Oh,
their hardest game. They even admitted it was their hardest game ever. So after that, I ended up becoming. They asked me if I would be permanent manager. So I said,
right.
yeah. I thought, yeah. So I ended up doing that for 5 years. And basically, what it was, I would go up there once a month for a training camp. So it'd be like 2 or 3 hours. So I'd fly up there. It's only like an hour away, and that. So I'd fly up there, do the training camp, and then come back down if the
Yeah.
flight's thing. So I'd
Oh,
go in there. It's a long day, but it's really like
that's
you
mental,
got to
man.
think of the end goal. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? The end goal. Like
of course it is.
I've been to places like through 5-a-side and 6-a-side. I've been to places like Dubai. I've been to places. I've met Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's
I've met
mental.
like mega stars just through 5 and 6 aside. I've played at Wembley 4 times,
Yeah,
Emirates 3 times, Anfield,
that's mental.
Villa Park.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah,
like, as much as people love 11 aside, my passion is 5 and 6 aside
of
because
course.
of I can do this with my mates as well. Obviously, maybe not as much with the national team, but I know all these players. You know what I mean? Anyway, because I've
Yeah,
played up and down the country against them.
Mm.
So, so for
that is
me bringing them
fantastic.
in, it was such a like highlight, and we was unlucky in the quarterfinal last year against Greece, who were the home nation. We ended up losing with the last kick of the game.
Oh,
We were 3-1 down, got it back to 3-3, about to go to penalties, and then they scored. They unfortunately scored with the last kick of the game.
oh,
We had a lot of sim bins in that time as well. All their goals were when we had a player in the sim bin. One of them was very, very harsh. The other ones were maybe a bit naive,
yeah,
but we was looking forward to this year because we thought, oh look, we can build on that because only one player from that squad had ever been to a tournament like that before.
yeah,
So to get to the quarter final, we thought, look, we could build on this and we can have high hopes for this year. But obviously with COVID, destroyed all them hopes this year. So hopefully in 2021 we'll be back and that hunger will still be there. You know what I mean? Because it hurts me still that we didn't get to at least the semi-final. So I know it hurts the boys as well. I still speak to them and that.
Yeah.
And we're just ready to go in 2021.
I'm sure you'll be back and strong the minute it comes back. I think everyone's definitely going to come back with some renewed vigor when we go back to football full time. Everyone, like especially with us, we're struggling to even, obviously we're not even allowed to train at the moment.
It's a nightmare. Yeah,
waiting for our games. We're looking at beginning of March, and obviously speaking to Bromley, we just might have to go back a bit. We might have to go back a bit further. Got a question for you, Jay, and it's actually from our media team, and it says, "What are the two most prominent mistakes you have made during your coaching and managing career?" Oh, it's a deep one. Oh,
do you know what? Sometimes I feel probably one was probably putting a trust in a person who I thought was one of my closest friends. A good player, very good player. I selected him for the World Cup, and he probably let me down. He did let me down. I won't go into it too much, but sometimes you've got to look at it and think, and having the right people around you and trusting them. So sometimes don't over trust people. Like you can trust people, don't get me wrong, but when you're a manager or a coach, sometimes you've got to think, am I doing this just because he's my friend, or am I doing this just because I feel I can trust him? Because he really let me down, and it took me a while to get over that.
Yeah, I bet, mate. That's harsh, that one. What are you found, Deano? What's going on?
I've got a question on the back of that.
Go on then.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so on the back of that, how do you separate yourself from professional manager and friendship? So let me give you a scenario. So, for instance, I'm on your team. We've known each other for 10 years.
It was crazy. Right, here we are. We're back on, boys. Sorry about that. We've just been completely all kicked out. I'm just going to put the lads back in the stream. Got Deano.
Yep.
We've got Guns, hopefully. Grant, you coming on? Grant looks like he's been kicked out again. Deano, what have you been doing for Christmas?
Mate, I've had a bit of a chilled Christmas this year. It wasn't as energetic as the last few Christmases.
Yeah.
Although we were supposed to, stay in your houses and things like that, there was something that I posted on Facebook, and it said, I'm not too sure if you saw it, and it said, if you're listening to Boris and he's told you to stay at home, and he's told you to go to work, it's okay for you to go to work, but it's not okay for you to spend time with your family, then you need to have a word with yourself.
I saw that, mate. That rung very true.
And
Deano.
And that for me, that was very true. I'm okay to go to work and do all of that and mix with everybody on my way to work, at work, and then on my way home from work, but I can't mix with my family.
Yeah.
But you're having a laugh, mate. Honestly, you're having a bubble. So although it was a chilled Christmas, it was still a nice Christmas with the right people.
That's brilliant, mate. What about you, Grant? Have a good one, mate.
Yeah, I spent it with the sponsors, obviously.
With the sponsors.
I
You little charmer, you spending Christmas with the sponsors. That's what I like, Grant. That's commitment.
I know, commitment.
That's why we're jumping. That's why we're jumping ahead, Jamie. We send our players to spend Christmas with the sponsors. That's how we do it.
It's the best way. Best way.
No,
did you stay in?
Just pimping out Grant, mate. You're just pimping him out.
We stayed in, had a lovely Christmas. It was a shame because normally, like last year, there was a lot more of us together.
Yeah.
This year was really just like immediate family. So it was like my other half's brother, their kids, his other half, her mum and dad. But normally we would have had her nan, which is she's like at the end of the road.
Yeah.
But she was so petrified, bless her, of all this. She didn't want to come, even though we was all fine. We all had tests beforehand, but she still didn't want to come. She's that petrified. And basically,
So sad.
Lou's cousin, his dad lives down in Tunbridge Wells, and obviously his mum lives round the corner from us.
Yeah.
And he got so mentally like down that he couldn't spend it like with everyone and everything else, that on Christmas Day his dad come and got him. But it was that bad that because he was coming from a tier 2, he was scared of getting pulled over by the police. I mean, the government just puts the fear in people.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
But we did have a lovely day. We walked up to her nan's and had a picture outside her nan's with her outside the front door. Done the whole Zoom thing over like opening presents and that. Had dinner.
Yeah.
Boxing Day was really nice because the whole of us as immediate family, like the 2 boys pushing a pram through lanes and fields, went for like 2 mile walk.
Yeah.
All of us.
That's lovely, and it's great. We had a little Boxing Day walk yesterday around Becky, which they've opened up now into you can go. It's beautiful down there, so we had a little walk.
I mean, I found some places in Bexley Village I never even knew existed.
Yeah, exactly. That's because you never really walk around there.
No,
you just bomb past in the motor or whatever. How about you, Jamie? You have a good one, mate?
Yeah, to be fair, it was a chilled one. I just literally went to my girlfriend's mum's house and literally just had like Christmas dinner and that.
Lovely.
Just with her family and that. And then when I see my mum and dad in the evening for a little bit, we played actually Zoom bingo with Kevin James,
I saw that.
my assistant manager. Yeah, so decent to be fair. It was good.
My wife went to school with him, with Kevin James.
Oh, is it?
So it's a bit like, we've always sort of known, I'd always sort of knew his name. But my missus went to school with him and knows him. But that's good. Yeah, I saw that. It looked fun. Zoom bingo. I can imagine doing that with my team, actually. Zoom bingo. They'd all be misbehaving. I know.
It was decent, to be fair. We did it for a little bit of money, so.
You would. That is good. So, just quickly, I want to say hello to Rob, who's on here watching it with his young daughter Elsie.
Mark, can I just say something quickly just before you start that?
That was it.
Oh, was that it? All right.
Yeah, just saying hello to
Elsie. I said I went towards Bexley. You know the thing that we posted about the person who nearly took their life.
Yes,
I see that as well. Yeah.
It's actually, I don't know if anyone knows it around here. It's like Dartford Heath. There's a bridge that goes over to Bexley, like a walking bridge.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was on there, and I walked through it, and there was not only those signs, many more signs, like obviously saying you can talk, like we'll get better.
All on that bridge,
all along it, all along.
Is that a hot spot? Do you reckon?
I think it is. I
remember
when people hanging themselves or jumping off the bridge there. Yeah.
Yeah, when I remembered last year. I remember last year somebody saying about that, and I think obviously that reminded me once I see it the other day, and I think there was somebody who I knew, I can't remember who it was, actually walked past and said, "Are you okay?" and they actually was saying, "Yeah, we were okay at that time," but obviously they weren't. You know what I mean?
No.
It's a massive. It's a massive thing. Obviously, we all of us are doing our best for mental health. You're all putting your time out tonight to come on and talk about mental health to help others. That's why we're here and doing this, to hope that we can reach out to people. That post in particular, Grant, got huge response off of all.
I'm pleased though.
So huge response.
I am pleased.
Lots of shares, but it just shows that the just that.
You know what? Well done to the person, whoever he is, if he ever sees it or anything. Well done to the person.
Mate, it was unbelievable. 100%. It was an unbelievable post.
And to even go and do that and put that there himself or themselves, whoever it was.
Well, the
following
bravery,
year. Yeah,
the bravery
even
to
just
go
doing
back
that.
is like, I can't imagine the bravery to go back to that place where, you know, that might have been it for you. And then to leave something to say to someone else, look, you know, things can improve, you know. That is, I mean, and
It must have
again,
been hard to keep improving this year as well, of all years, to try to get better.
Did it have a date on or anything?
Yeah, it had a date on it. It's got a date on it. Yeah, 22nd of like last year that it was there.
It's only last year.
That's
It's a
unbelievable.
year.
So
It was a year. He put it up there, or he or she put it up there a year to the day.
that's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to be able to get out there and do that. And I can't imagine the impact of all these lockdowns and that are having on people's mental health, and especially with Christmas. Jamie, what do what did you take from them announcing so suddenly we couldn't have Christmas together? What was your first thought and fear about that?
Mate, I'll be honest. This lockdown and the restrictions what had just come up just before that, so like tier 4 and the lockdown and the one had just gone. This one hit me harder than what or any of the others. And they was longer, the other ones, but for me this one hit us a lot more because I feel like it was just out of nowhere. And it was just like we was back into some routine of like football, and I was back refereeing, as you know, at goals, and I was back into a routine. I've worked the whole time through this, like because of obviously like key workers' kids have still got to come in. They're disabled or spiritual needs or autistic or something like that. Anyway, so they've had to come in. They still have to work, obviously, the key workers' kids. So for me, this one hit me a lot harder, and I'll be honest with you. Like I sat here and I was upset about it. I'm not with my ex partner, and my kids live with them. With her, so it was hard for me.
Must have been hard.
Like when I see them and I passed over to my daughter the presents, you know what I mean. But it was one of them that it really hit me. But I don't think I would have got through it without my girlfriend. If I'm being perfectly honest, because I was upset. I was very very upset with it in general because I'm a creature of habit and. I have my routines in the like I'm working all day, so I have my routine in the evening, and most of the time, it's to do with football. And my girlfriend supports me massively with that. She comes to the Mile End Beatties games. If I go and watch a game in midweek, which obviously at the moment is being taken away again. If I'm refereeing at goals, she supports all of that. You know what I mean? And I don't think I would have got through that without her. So I thank her. But obviously some people wouldn't have that, haven't got that, you know what I mean? And that's the whole reason behind what I done the Let Us Talk, not only because of the struggle of mental health now, but haven't really spoke about it, if I'm being honest, and I may go into it a little bit more on here with yous, which is a bit more exclusive obviously to yous, because I've not really spoken about the whole reason why I've done it. People know that my dad had mental health issues 2 years ago before Christmas, but I haven't really gone into it. But I'll go into that in a little bit if you want to obviously ask other people, you know what I mean, and that. So
no, I mean, it is. I can't imagine, going through that already, as you say, a couple of years, and then seeing how this whole pandemic has hit this country, of what we know, and hit people that are closest to us. As you said, you're involved in football. You've seen, involved in seeing a lot of predominantly blokes, I suppose, and seeing how it hits people is really, really tough. Again, like Grant spoke about it before. When you talk about support from your girlfriend, Grant's actually said the same thing about him in tough times, and his girlfriend has really pulled through for him, hasn't she, Grant?
Yeah, she's been massive up this year. I mean, like, there's been times where I've wanted to just hit the bottle or whatever else, and it's her that said no, especially because I had to start driving, obviously doing driving lessons again and everything else. And then me being nervous about it all and stressing myself and having it's not even the fact that I know I can drive, it's the fact that it's the scrutiny of someone else watching and scrutinizing. That's what gave me like anxiety.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, she said, no, you can do it, you don't need to do that, you don't need to do this. Like once you get behind the wheel, and she was right. Once I was behind the wheel again, I was fine. There was nothing.
No, and you, it's good. I mean, we always have a joke and a stuff at football, but we're really proud that you've come this far and done what and that's why I have you. And I always ask you to come on these because you've got a story and you've got experience, and you're able to, and you're still working through your life, and are still able to give people, what you've learned.
They say that it's well done, you've beat it. You've never beat it. It's like
You've
cancer.
never,
You've never beat it.
You've
never beat it. You'll never beat it. You'll just. It's like, for me, the only thing that kept, like, I spent 4 years probably of not doing nothing, but the only reason why I stayed alive for those 4 years was probably the fact that I didn't want to ever put my mum to make her go to a funeral.
Yeah,
that's probably that's the truth of it.
Yeah,
that's probably the only. That
one thought got you through.
Yeah, that got me through 4 years of literally doing nothing but going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But this last year and a half to 2 years almost is totally changed. I've got purpose. I'm now obviously trying to learn to drive again. That is, I've paid for a plumbing course and I'm doing things. I've worked for the last 2 years solid.
Yeah.
So
you've really bear with it and push through it, you mate. And as you say, with that one purpose of your mum.
Literally, mum. I don't know what it was. I think it was someone said I could never ever put my mum through going to or like a parent should never go to their children's funeral. And there was that thought of me mum standing there and looking down at a grave or standing there in the church or whatever.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. No way.
Nah. And that is, you could say that saved you, didn't it? That thought of your mum and how close. We all know that, how close you are to your.
I mean,
your mum and that.
I wouldn't say we're close because she lives
not geographically.
Yeah, but I speak to her every day. I mean, we FaceTime every single day, and that hurt this year because it was her due to come from Spain to here, but she hasn't had a great year, to be honest, this year, isn't it?
That must be really tough.
That's
Deano,
crazy.
You said, Deano, obviously when we started the football club and I was trying to get you to come back and stuff, you went through a bit of a time, didn't you, with things going on?
Yeah, there was some issues going on at work, and although this is actually going to be quite interesting, because although things were going very, very well in one area of my life, like in terms of starting my own business and the whole property thing, there was an area of my life that just wasn't sitting well, and that was to do with work. The position that I was in, I wasn't happy. Although I got paid very, very good money, I wasn't happy, and I wanted to just kind of go back to the basics. And it was a shame because I went through a lot of stress trying to make that happen.
Yeah.
And with all of that, I finally got back to what it is I was trying to do. But because of the amount of stress that I had to go through trying to get to that position, it's like, right, I'm in another position now. So I feel like I've jumped out of the frying pan and jumped into the fire.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. And it's a shame because I've gone back to being a bus driver. And when I very first started driving a bus, I didn't realize how much I'd actually enjoy doing it. I got a promotion and I was like, you know what, I actually want to go back. Going back to it's kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. So right now I'm just kind of struggling with that, and I'm just thinking to myself, maybe it's time now, and I actually haven't even said this out loud, but maybe it's time for a change of direction in life.
Well,
and with that, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with a decision like that, because when you take a change of direction in terms of, especially in terms of work, you've got to weigh up everything, like the family dynamic, the financial side of things, your own emotional health, your mental health. All of that comes into play, and these are decisions that, for a man who runs a household and has dependents, it's not an easy decision, because you know one bad decision can really affect your household, and then it affects how you feel as a father, as a provider.
Yeah.
And right now I'm kind of riding that line, and I'm not too sure what road I'm supposed to go down, so I feel like I'm at a bit of a loss.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult decision, but ultimately I know whatever it is I do, I know that my goal is I've got to still put food on the table.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and sometimes I don't think a lot of people kind of really kind of take that sort of like that on from a man's perspective. It's like, you know, regardless of whatever happens, at the end of the day, I've got to put food on the table. That's what I've got to do. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a provider.
Yeah.
And regardless of whether or not I'm going to like what it is I do at the end of the day, I've got to do it because I've got these responsibilities. But do we really take on how much of a impact that has on us mentally? And right now I'm trying to look at it from all angles, and doing these talks, and doing these shows, it kind of gets me thinking about situations from different angles. Like, could I step back and do something that pays a little bit less, but that's going to give me that better sense of that mental health?
Yeah.
Can I do it? Can I juggle it? Can I? Yeah, quality of life, family, and things like that. Can I do it? Can't I do it? And at the same time, as a provider, you think to yourself, you know what? I don't want to put my family in a situation where I have to think about, I've got to turn that light off because, you know, I can only put a little bit on the electric.
Of course, that is.
Yeah,
you know, so
it's the different scenarios as you're putting yourself, but them scenarios that you're putting through, what you got to think of as well, like from where I've seen and when I've spoken to people as well, obviously on my lives, they think about all them things, but it takes over the positive thing of if you do change and your frame of mind is better, then it's going to help your family as well. Yeah, okay. We worry about money. We understand that. Everyone understands that. But what you got to think of, if your frame of mind is not good, then the people around you, probably their frame of mind is not going to be good as well, because they're going to be worried about you, and it's going to be a trigger to everyone else as well.
Chain reaction.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a very good point, Jay.
And I think definitely with when you're thinking, I've gone through the same sort of thing not so long ago, Deano, in the summer, probably the last couple of years, you know, thinking sort of, what am I going to do? What do I want to do with my life? You know, and do I really want to train or retrain to do something for the money, or do you take less money? Because unfortunately, all of my passions are incredibly useless. Like, for me at my age, like my missus says, I'm good at everything. I'm good at everything that don't earn you money. Like, I'm good at everything that don't earn you money. Like, I love going football training, and I love playing football with the boys. Unless you're professional, a really good coach, or if you're really deep into the game, you know, it's hard to earn a living off of football.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And that's my passion. You know, like I remember last summer being in my mum's back garden. This is ridiculous. I was in my mum's back garden, and I've got 3 brothers, and we're all at my mum's, and we always come up with some sort of stupid games to play. We compete at everything. It could be anything. We compete. So my mum's got hula hoops in her garden. We had a basketball net up, and we said who could throw the hula hoops to hook on the basketball net, right? And we're competing. I turn around. I got one on there. I said to my missus, see, I'm good at this. And she said, yeah, but you're good at everything that don't earn you no money. You know? People love, like some people love being a builder. Like they love doing these things. And, you know, they can earn their money doing it. But it seems with me, I've always felt like everything I love doing is not, you know, beneficial money-wise. It just, that's just me. I like doing, this is my thing. Like, you know, doing stuff like this, I'm interested in a bit of passion and purpose.
Yeah.
But it just seems that everything, and I mean, now I'm doing, like Grant said, I'm doing an electrician's course, which I do enjoy. I enjoyed that. I started when I was 16. I went to college to be an electrician. I'd done my first year, and then I jumped out when a job came along stupidly. But now I've gone back to it, and that is actually something I like doing. So I'm pursuing that, you know, at a sort of slower level, doing a lot of online learning, and there's some practical days coming up when pandemic permits. Like Grant will go through that as well. But I actually enjoy doing that, and I was always very mindful that I'm not doing something just for the money. I
feel
need to enjoy it.
Yeah, 100% what you're saying is correct. Like, and it echoes what I've just said as well. It's like a lot of the people, again, I go back to obviously my lives, what I've done with it, and everything you're saying is correct because they say it helps them finding that focus.
Yes.
So, like finding what they enjoyed and what that focus was. It may not be that it's about a job, or it may not be a thing. It may be that you want to go out running and that's your focus, or it may be something else, reading or writing, or a lot of people turn around and said they like to write their feelings down when they're going through it. Like it all depends on the circumstance of your own person, you know what I mean? And you have to find that focus, what you feel is right for you, to help you, and then that will help everyone around you.
To be fair, something you just said there, Jamie, took me back. Writing stuff down, or just writing about generally something, feelings, whatever, massively help you. I found out two things: writing and just going for a walk.
No.
Helps. Yeah, you don't know this, but when I done my little stint, you don't know this, Mark. I wrote something because my little cousin, she was going from primary school to secondary school.
Okay.
So she went to secondary school, and she was falling out with her friends from primary school.
Yeah.
And she couldn't understand why, or like she couldn't understand like why they were drifting apart, why they wouldn't always be together, why things change, and this, that, and the other. So because obviously she'd come and visit me, and my auntie would write letters and this, that, and that. I wrote her something. I wrote it down, just wrote it for her. My auntie, I didn't know this till I came out. She sent it off to a publishing company, and it got published.
Oh wow!
But literally, it was just I used to write things. I've literally got little notepads somewhere in my room still, stuff that I used to write. It used to massively help me, especially in there.
That's amazing, mate. That's such a nice thing. What you were doing at the time to reach out and help your family.
Was it like poetry? Was it poetry or?
It was more like
little stories.
It's like a little motivational thing. It was like all the stuff now will not basically make you the person you are or the people around you. Yeah, everything's going to change. So don't think that now's the be all and end all, and this is how it's always going to be.
Oh, that's
what I mean, Deano. Yeah. Like you've got to have that focus. It doesn't matter what it is. As I say, like for Grant, he was writing something down or something like that. Like, you know what I mean. Mine is having that routine of football, having the support mechanism. The support mechanism what I've got is obviously my girlfriend. The fact of the matter is that I wouldn't have gone through the stuff I've gone through in the last year and a half or year. I wouldn't have got through it, especially over this year. I would never have got through it without her. So that's it for me and everyone who's come on again. The main thing what they were saying was finding the right person to talk to. It doesn't matter if it's a complete and utter stranger. Like that's what my platform was in the first. People were opening up who I've known for 15, 20 years. And I didn't know what they was going through or had gone through because I've just seen them on a football pitch or I've seen them around football or just being around them. I didn't know what they had gone through. But they started opening up just because they felt that they could help somebody else or it could help them. So they started opening up, saying what they had gone through because of that reason. And that was what the platform was for. And it's helped, hopefully, as a lot of people, hopefully. It's helped me as well, like for myself to talk about these. And it's educated myself more. I said it all along. I'm not a professional in mental health. I just take the experiences, what I went through from my dad and what he was going through. And that's all I say is like, I just go through, I just express my views or thing. There's no right or wrong answer. As I said to Martin when he come on, I said, there's no right or wrong answer. It's finding and expressing what you feel about mental health. And it may help one person. As I just said, I've turned around and said about writing, and Grant's come out and said, "Oh, it's funny you say that because it helped me."
Yeah. He's. I mean, obviously, I've known Grant most of his life, and that's the first time I've heard that. We haven't been much in touch the last 5 years, only from football back again. And even with Deano, sharing his experience.
That's why you wouldn't know that because you just wasn't around.
And no,
we wasn't around.
Yeah, it's been mad because,
like I said, I don't blame
you for like 5 years. It's probably been about. Is it 5 years, Grant? I ain't seen you for.
Nah,
6.
You did, yeah, it might have been 6 because you didn't see me while I was on bail.
Nah, I didn't. It was a year, weren't it?
Yeah, I was a year on bail. You spoke to me on message, but we never see each other.
Nah, and that's what I said on the first ever live we done. The first Grant was when we done our first ever Calm84fc live. I got Grant to interview me, and when we were talking about it, and I said like, it's nothing like. Obviously, I've gone through some stuff myself this year, which has given me a greater understanding of how it feels and the loneliness you can feel when you're going through it. And one of my like biggest regret for me was speaking to Grant was like not reaching out to him when he was going through his darkest point. Now Grant is my nephew's godfather. He's my brother Dan's best mate in the world. I don't know why, because he's not all that, but he's his best mate in the world. Like, I don't know. I've told Dan to trade him in how many times, and he hasn't. But he's my nephew's godfather, and I've known him since a kid himself. Yeah. He's played football for me and with me for practically his entire life. So they're the people that you want near you, and it wasn't purpose that I didn't. No. It was just
life.
But almost a selfishness.
A lot of people turn around and said it on there that it took something like COVID, as much as it's been bad for people or anything like this, and it's still going on. It's taken COVID to slow our life down, and I actually think, wait a minute, I haven't spoke to that person for a while, or I haven't spoke to that person for a while, or I haven't seen that person for a while. Or they've seen something on a social media thing where you wouldn't take notice normally, because the fact of the matter is we're all, as Deano turned around and said, we're all worried about our own life. Oh, where can we make this money? How can we support our family? How can we support our friends who are our closest, obviously, in our day-to-day life? How can I help a work colleague or something like that? Like, we're so in our mind, so fast, it just
tunnel
goes
vision.
Past. Yeah, just tunnel vision. It's just like, oh, wait a minute, I won't look out there, or I won't look out there. Yeah. We're just like, look, I've got a job to do, and that's all I'm going to do. Yeah.
Well, I saw Grant, and I remember it quite prominently. He rung me the day of the big incidents and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll go through, what happened and stuff on another one at some point when he's ready. But he rung me the day after it happened. And then the next time I saw him was the day he come to my gym to see me. He just caught me in the gym to see me the day you went to court, Grant.
It was like, no, it was a week before.
Yeah, he went to court. And then the next time I see him was getting out the car at football 5 years later. And this is someone who's been in my family, someone who's been in my family for a long time. Like, he knows all my family, my nan, my aunt, his uncles. We've known him as a kid. So it does make you feel awful because you just think,
It does, but it like as Grant said, it's life. Like it goes so fast. But it has been slowing down this year.
Right, speaking of fast,
Gonzo's
gone really fast. I've got to fly.
Go on, mate, you go.
I've got a family quiz. Right, but I'm going to say something quickly before you go. We was all doing the England spine.
Yes. Come on, hit us.
Right, I haven't gone for Flair.
Yeah,
it's a spine.
All right.
So I've gone for Seaman in goal. Yeah. This is obviously my era.
Yeah.
Terry at centre back.
Nice.
It was weird though. For me. It was a toss up between Scholes and Gerrard, but it's going to be Gerrard.
Yeah, it's got to be Gerrard for you, mate.
And as a striker, I don't think prolific or anything else you can beat Alan Shearer as an English striker.
So you got Seaman, Terry, Gerrard, and Shearer. That's not bad at all, mate.
As a spine.
That's not a bad spine. You're going to have to watch tomorrow to see what the other boys want.
Yeah.
On you go anyway. And coming on,
Lovely
mate.
talking to you, fellas.
You too, mate.
See you later. Yeah, well done, Grant. See you later,
mate.
Bye.
Take it easy, God.
Right, I'm going to remove Grant. Corey, I'm bringing you on, mate. Corey's been in the green room on the site. He's coming in 3, 2, 1. He's been watching all the time. Here he is, the boy. T-shirt.
There you go, Corey.
Show the T-shirt.
Right, boys.
Show the top.
Show the top. So Corey's been following the conversation, obviously. And it's been lovely speaking about, mental health stuff. Jamie, as I said, I just want to ask you, Jade, a bit more about, if you don't mind, elaborating a bit more about your dad and your sort of, you don't have to go too deep. Tell us sort of,
To be fair, it's mad really to a certain degree that I've never really, if I'm being honest, apart from a couple of close people and some of the England boys, I've never really opened up about how I felt about it, you know what I mean? Or anything like that. Maybe that's because I'm an only child. So I never felt like I could open up or say anything because I felt like I had to be strong for everyone else around me, like my mum and dad at the time. My dad's going through something what just come out of the blue. So it's like the fact of the matter is I was just like, well, I've got to be strong for my mum. You know what I mean? So I've never really sat down and actually thought about it or spoke about it the way I should have probably spoken about it. But basically what the issue was, so like 2 years ago, just before Christmas, I was with my ex then. But basically we was moving into a house or a new house. And actually the day of moving into that house, I got a phone call from my mum saying, Dad's not right like this. Like, I don't know what's wrong. I was like, what are you talking about? Like what are you talking about? Like she was like, oh, I don't know. He's just saying these things and all this and that. And I was just like, oh, okay, all right. So I left that and just went straight to my dad, like my mum and dad's. So I just thought, I'll go there, like speak for a little bit and then it'll be all right or something like that. Yeah. So I arrived and literally as I arrived, he was sitting there and he was literally zoned. Like all I can say is he was zoned out. Like he was literally sat there and he was like he was in another world. Like honestly, he was just like sat there and looking like in his chair, looking out the window, just like that, just literally just gone. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, Mum, what is going on here? Like that. So she explained for the last couple, like 3 or 4 days before that, on the build up to it, he had just started saying things about financial reasons. Like he was like, I got a bank statement and he was going, oh, we're going to be bankrupt. We're going to do this. We're going to have this and all this and that. And I've never opened up about this. So this is obviously like thing. Apart from to a few people, but he was like, oh, the police are going to come, police are going to take me away, you're going to get the house taken away, all this and that. So, and he kept on saying that on the day. And I was just like, listen, you either need to ring a doctor now and speak to him, like, or I'm gonna ring 111 and ask them what we need to do. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. So I was just like, oh, now I've got to obviously take control of this situation. So I was just like, so I rang, explained, but they wouldn't do anything unless they spoke to him. So I had to physically force him in the end to actually speak to him on the phone. So he ended up like speaking to him on the phone. So we ended up going up to the hospital, and literally we was up there from like 4 o'clock till 4 o'clock, like doing tests, and he was still saying all these things and all this and that. And he ended up being sectioned. So he, at 4 o'clock in the morning, me and my mum walked with him round to Oxley's, Queen Elizabeth. And he was sectioned in there, and he ended up spending, I think it was like 5 months, 6 months. I can't even remember the time, if I'm being honest, because it was just the longest time. Like, really, it just felt so thin. And the strain of it just literally was just a nightmare. It was just like what can I do for my mum? What can I do? Like, I'm an only child, remember, so I've got to take this all on. Like, I've still got to work. I've still got to like. I was with obviously my ex then. I had my daughter there. She didn't understand where's granddad, etc. What's going on and all this and that. So it was just a strain. And in the end, I ended up splitting up with my partner a year and a half ago for what various reasons I won't go into. But and basically I found Zoe in the end, and she was the reason I feel I've got through that, because she was support. She was the support what I needed. If I didn't have her for the last year, I don't think I would have got through it. We actually worked together, but she was a support before that, but it wasn't like it is now. You know what I mean? Now we're together. But basically, my dad, the whole time when he was in there, he was having medication. He's still on medication now, and stuff like that. But what happened was he started. It was literally every time I went in there, I was like, I don't know how I can do this, Mum. I don't know if I can keep going in there. And why I was saying this is because I didn't. Why I said I didn't know if I could go in there, it was because it wasn't my dad. Like, it wasn't my dad, Martin. Like, I'm choking up a little bit, sorry. But it wasn't my dad. And what I mean by it wasn't my dad is that...
what, in the way you remembered him?
Yeah, what he was. Like, what you got to remember, even the week before that, Deano, he was at football with me. Like, he was at football with me, fine. Like, and it just come on out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. They started doing obviously tests on his brain and stuff like that. They said that he had a slight stroke, but they don't know when it was. They don't know if that was like years ago or it was recent. They can't do a time span, but it was only a small stroke. You know what I mean? So they said that could have maybe affected his mind, but they didn't think it was that. Then obviously, like, the week before, he was at football with me, as I was saying, like, it was just madness. It just felt like he was always smiley. He was always my support. He was always with me at football. He was always, like, as I've grown up all the way through, even now at 35, he will, or not now, but even when I'm till about 32, 33, if I was playing or if I was just coaching or anything, he would be there. He would come with me. He didn't care. He would be there. Like, and it was just like seeing that man like that. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, sorry for swearing, but like, it was just like, what the hell? Like, what is going on here? Like, and I didn't understand mental health. Get me wrong. I'm one of them stereotypes, and what I say now of before that happened, I would probably have turned around and said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just get on with it," or to that certain degree, because I'm an old school man up, or there's nothing wrong with Dad. Come on, just hurry up. Like, you'll be all right, and all this and that. And it was like every time I went into to Oxley's, where he was there while he was under a mission, and that it was just like he was looking at the wall. He was just like, or he was saying, "This is the last time I'm going to see you. This is the last time I'm going to be around you. You're going to get arrested when we go outside." Then he started saying stuff about, "Oh, I've done all these murders and everything like that," and and I was just like, "What?" Like, I was just like, "What the hell is going on here?" Like, I don't know what I'm meant to say. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was just like, "What? What am I meant to say to that? What am I meant to say?
Wrong,
what am I meant to do?" Like, Dad, like it hasn't happened, but it didn't matter because 2 seconds later, I just kept on reassuring him. So maybe 2 seconds later, he may say, or then it started going to maybe 5 minutes, and then it started going to 10 minutes, and it did trigger him in the end to think it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, and in the end, obviously, he started getting medication and he started getting treatment, and he ended up having day releases, and I ended up taking him out and stuff like that, and evening releases, and I bring him back, and it was good. You know what I mean? In the end, like, so he ended up obviously coming out, and he's still on medication now. There's still times where you feel like he would sit there and he just zones out, but he is a lot better. He's not the same person, nowhere near the same person as what he was, but he went back to work as well. Like, he was working on the buses for escorting special needs kids as well. So he went back to that routine for a little bit, and then he retired in the end. But he's now at home with my mum, and that's probably what started me with started to educate myself a little bit more. Not with qualifications or anything, but just knowing a little bit more about mental health or just struggles that people may have gone through, and it made me think, well, this person may be going through something I don't know, because it actually yesterday, like, it was one of them things that I looked on my memories on Facebook yesterday, like the photos come up and stuff like that, and every year I used to wind my dad up about wearing silly hats and wearing about 3 or 4 hats on his head and everything like that. We always used to like wind him up and put photos up and stuff like that. But then 2 years ago, he wasn't at home for Christmas. He was in there. So the last Christmas, when I sat down with him and everything like that, I took a photo, and obviously it come up this year. And I turned around and said, the status turned around and said, it doesn't matter how much you wind somebody up, you always have to remember these special moments, because you don't know what the smile or the mind is going on behind that smile. Because it was 100% true. My dad was always smiling or having a laugh with me or having a joke with me, and I didn't know what was going on behind in his head. And that's the same as everyone. Like, I'm an outgoing person. I will speak to everyone. I'm quite laid back. Yeah. At times I get wound up and I explode. I don't know if you've seen the latest Essie Don's video, but you can go and watch that. When I'm refereeing,
I will be.
But I'm very much like my dad, and I always try to help other people before myself, and that's probably one of my bad traits. Going back to obviously the question, Deano, before I got cut off, is probably that. That is probably one of my bad traits, that I trust a lot of people, or I respect a lot of people that think. So I have to learn from that, and I'm always learning, and I turn around and say, like, with football, it's never a loss, it's always learning. You've always got to learn something. You've always got to learn something from what you're going through. And I learned a lot that sometimes you can't trust the people what you feel, and you've got to find the people you've got to find the right people to talk to, especially with mental health. You've got to find the right people to talk to before you can trust them, because I could go to certain people and I don't think they would know how to, or even maybe listen. And that's the other thing what I would echo, that if somebody comes to you you may not know, what to say, but you must listen to them, because that person could be going through that struggle for 20 years, and then they've had that courage to turn around and say, look, Deano or Martin or Corey, look, I'm struggling. I need your help, or I need you to just listen to me. Like, if you don't know what to say to them, that's fine, but just listen, and then maybe recommend somebody they can go to speak to, or a number they can ring. But you must be able to listen. That is the most important thing if somebody comes to you with mental health.
It's the one thing you don't really need.
You don't need
train too much. You know,
you don't need a qualification for
to learn to listen.
Well, I was just about to say that, Jay. I was just about to say that you don't need a qualification to listen. I was actually going to say, you know, listening is actually free. I'm saying you don't. There's nothing to it, and you could change somebody's whole future, their whole dynamic with just listening, just being there. A simple hello can actually alter their course.
Yeah,
just saying hello.
That's literally what the platform, what I done at the start of it was to talk and listen, and that was it. And that's what it is today. I don't care about all these YouTube views. I don't care about all these subscribes. I may do that with Beatties, with Mile and Beatties, but that's different. But my thing is that if I can just give a platform for somebody to come on and talk, and for me to listen to them, or another person to listen to them and maybe give them a little bit of advice, because there's people who comment and give their advice to them as well. All of us are not professionals, but we can take our views and our experiences of different aspects of our lives, or other people's lives, what may have gone through mental health, and it may help as many people as we can. If it helps one person, great. And that's all. That's all I've done the platform for. Yeah, that's all I've done the platform for.
That's exactly it. I mean, it was seeing people like yourself that once I started this in November, you know, putting ourselves out there and searching the hashtag, searching who we know, coming across people like yourselves who are doing this for mental health, you know, in our area as well, especially in our community. That's how, you know, me and you got together in the first place. It's amazing, really, that you could do something consistently, but so simple, you know, but as you said, if you've had 120 guests, how many views have you had on them videos that one person might have said, do you know what? Like, I really appreciate watching these guys open up today. And that has inspired them.
I'll say one person who's just messaged me the other day, because it was just recently, that James Beadwell, he had special needs. Big DTFC fan. He was on I think he was on Undateables as well. So like, people know him from like TV and stuff like that as well. He had special needs. He messaged me saying, thank you very much for just letting me come on and talk. That's all I wanted to do, just come on and talk, because I was struggling, and I can now see a light at the end of the tunnel of this with the coronavirus. That's all that matters to me. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about anything else.
Nah, and I try and tell my lads, like with Corey, me and Corey, we've really been hitting this for the last couple of months, and the biggest thing was to let the lads know that even what we're doing as a football team, like the money and the physical side of it, you know, the money and the helping, you know, the mental health skills into grassroots football, that was one side of it. But you know, this is the active side of it. This is the really the essence of what we're trying to do. If we have people watch this video, even my little brother, I don't know if he's watching, Russell, completely broke my heart the other day. He's got a lot of things going on in his life, but he's not, you know, he's one of our players. You know, he will come and get involved when he's got, you know, that when he's in the right place to do so. But since we've been going, we've not really had any deep conversations about the club, etc. I just say training's here, you know, videos are on there, and he watches. And the other day he rung me, he messaged me, and asked me quite a lot of questions about the club and what we're for, like the deeper questions in how are we helping people and stuff like that. And, you know, I sent him, you know, because I'm obviously well versed now in telling people what we're about, as you do.
Yeah.
And I give him the whole spiel on the WhatsApp. And in the end, he said, like, that's fantastic. And I'm sure he won't mind, but he said, making me well up a little bit now.
Yeah.
He said to me, I know you don't know this, bro. He said, but I'm so proud of everything you're doing.
Yeah.
He said, and the people that you're going to help. And if we can help one, then it's all worth it.
100%.
You know, and when he said, even now, I've got fucking tears in my eyes.
Yeah, no, of course. When you talk about it, it's the worst time when you speak about it. As much as you want to talk about it, as much as you can, sometimes it's hard to talk about it. Like as I just said to you, when I'm talking about that, I don't talk about it a lot. I've hardly spoke about it. As I said to you, the only focus I've really spoke about it is probably my mum, my girlfriend, and some of the England boys last year, and that's why this year has been such a struggle, because I haven't been around the England boys a lot. Like, obviously, and I normally see them once a month at least. You know what I mean? Like training and stuff like that, and I can explain the situation, what I'm going through, and I had that focus. I knew I was going to a World Cup, so I had to build this team. I had to think. So it's like I blocked everything out. Really. Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a good thing for me. Maybe it was a bad thing. I don't know. Like, long term, I'll know. But I blocked out the issues or the things, what was going on in my mind at the time, because I had that focus. And I was just like, I need that focus. And I had the England team. This year, obviously, I've now been able to sit down and think, well, maybe I need to open up on the situation, what I was going through with my dad and the issues, what I was going through, because I've now sat down and relaxed more because of COVID.
And you've certainly, obviously, you've opened up tonight, and we really appreciate it, because you never know who's watching, who is going to see how hard it is to speak, but you've been brave enough to say it anyway. You know, and you sort of, again, you know, a lot of people have got, you know, either triggering issues that have happened, or they just feel chemically unbalanced, you know. And for you, you've had a really big, you know, a really tough time of it. And as I said, if that helps one person that we
100%.
talk to, and that seems to be the theme, doesn't it? I mean, as I said, with Deano,
I've got the utmost respect for people like you, like Calm84, another one who's really good friends of mine and been on the lives as well. The People's FC, what they do for the community as well around our area, and clubs. We need more clubs like yourself and the People's FC and stuff like that, and we need them because it's all good and well having these massive platforms like SE Dons and Milan Beatties or Beatties Squad. Don't like that saying their name, but they've got a massive platform. Rising Ballers, all these, and they've got their own niches, what their thing in, but we've got to think about the community. We got to think about others, not just our own platforms, what we're trying to build. And you and the People's FC are number ones with doing what you're doing now. What you've done in a short period of time is massive. Obviously, People's FC have been around for a while, and they're still doing massive things with the charity and the community and stuff like that. I've had other charity teams on from Essex charity teams.
We're going to game against them. Essex Charity FC, I think it's called. We've got a game. Well, we've got Corey. When's our fixture against them?
2nd of May.
So you've got them. You've got obviously Sands is massive as well for their charities. I can keep on going.
Sands is a big one, isn't it? That's a real. We sort of. I look at Sands, and a part of, you know, I've been hinting a bit of news coming for the new year, but it's a bit. Because you've mentioned Sands, I'm gonna give everyone a little snippet that obviously come the new year, just like a Sands, there's going to be this year. There's going to be more than one Calm84fc team up and down the country.
Yeah, that's what's needed. It's what's needed.
We're talking already to a couple of potential teams that want to actually take on our format and what we're doing, work under our name, and work with us and do what we're doing.
100%.
And we're talking to a couple, and we're also talking to a couple of areas. One I'm actually looking into Liverpool because my stepson lives up that way, and he knows a few people. There's teams up there, and he's got a lot of friends up there that want to, get involved in like mental health. And
their platform, obviously, they're the platform what you can look at and aim for. You know what I mean? And in every area of the country.
They got. Sands have got 33 teams. I see the other day. They've done it in 2 years, and I mean, unbelievable for their cause. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But for me, I've got my cause.
Yeah, 100%.
This is our cause, and we now next year, apart from building our team, we're going to be taking on with the likes of Deano, going to be coming into a more prominent role within the club. Corey's already he's second in command as far as I'm concerned. He's the man who's helped me build this. But we're going to go and build other clubs in other areas,
100%,
as well as sorting out our own. Because, as I said to Corey, if we're in our area, and we can. Obviously, we're going to do the open training sessions because what we want to create is a community that people from the outside can also come and get involved with using football.
100%.
And when they come in and get involved with, that might not be talking, that might just be physical activity, might just make them feel better. Nothing else.
I'll tell you what, but away from camera, we won't do it now, but you, Corey, Deano will talk and everything like that, and whoever else is involved. We'll make a little group. And through I know a lot of people in the UK, obviously. We see what we can do and see if we can get in different areas, and we try to build this and help you build it as well. You know what I mean? So I've got a lot of connections, and hopefully they'll be interested in doing it. You know what I mean? We can only ask them. If they don't want to, they don't want to. That's fine. It's not a problem.
The response we've had from all over the place it's absolutely unreal. People messaging and saying, "How do we get involved? We've got a team. What do we do?" And and it just got me thinking. Do you know what? Instead of affecting just my community, in the same amount of time, I can affect 10 communities, 20 communities, 50 communities.
100%.
I was saying to my stepson the other day. I was actually saying it was to Corey. I think Christmas Eve, and I was saying I'm never one to I never really think small. I always think big. And in my dream, there's a calm team everywhere.
Yeah, don't rest on your laurels. Don't stand still.
What we've done in 8 weeks, I don't know if it's 8 weeks, I think 7 weeks we've been going. We've gone from obscurity.
Yeah, Corey corrected me on the live the other day.
I saw that, we watched it.
Even though you thought it was Martin.
I know, I did. Sorry.
We were playing pro clubs. We were playing pro clubs. Anyone wants to play us at pro clubs? Get onto Corey. It's Calm84fc.
Yeah.
But we're playing pro clubs, and Corey was watching your live at the same time.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, James just give us the mention." I was like, "It's brilliant." And he went, and then I watched it, and he went, "Yeah, what they've done in 5 months."
And I was like, "Oh."
What? 5 months, and then literally a minute later, he went, "Oh, 5 weeks." 5 weeks. Yeah, well done, Corey. Give Corey a little message. Well done, boy. But no, it is again. We don't want to be. It's not. This is the open invite to people to come and get involved because the project is going to be as big as we can dream it. The project's as big as we can dream it, and for you guys that have all opened up and stuff like that and talked tonight, it's got a lot to do with the things that I've been through the last year, and the almost, I don't want to let it bully me, and I don't want to let it bully anyone else. Mental health, is such a horrible place, and I think loneliness and the inability to talk to people is paramount. That's what we need. If there's a point in it we can change, it's encouraging people to talk. We're not qualified enough to give too much advice, etc. We can say our experiences, but what we can do is give people a friend, give people a sport to play, give people a platform to talk about what they want to talk about, and signpost them to where they might get help. These are the things that we can do now. So I say let's double down and try and do them in another area. My cousin lives in Harlow. He's going to come play for us. But what's to stop him starting a team in?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's got friends. He's played football his whole life. He's got friends all in his area. Why not have a Calm84fc?
I'm sure as soon as the things are set up as well, it's like with Sands. They was always set up like one thing, and they've all got the connection in the end. You know what I mean? Like obviously all of them who play for Sands have had baby loss, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So that's the idea you want. You don't want to just recruit the best players in that area. You want it to mean something, like you want either that player to have been affected by mental health, or their family member or friend or something like that. You don't want somebody to just obviously just come and play, you know what I mean? It's not
about football, especially. You can't do. I mean, we're talking about, like me and Corey were saying the other day, it could be any sort of teams that if they want to play Sundays, if they want to, like for us, our whole football bubble is about playing less but bigger events, like bigger experiences for the players and for people to come and watch. So our games, we're not really playing in parks or leisure centres.
Yeah, stadiums.
I'm playing in stadiums. That's it. We've got Charlton lined up for when they've got a place for us because their 2020 bookings have gone over to 21. So they're trying to find us a booking slot at Charlton. We've been contacted. We've contacted.
I don't want to play there, mate.
No. You can skip that one. you can skip that one.
Being a Millwall fan now.
Yeah, you know what I play there. And so even like Millwall, we would love to go.
Yeah.
Then we would love to. We want to go. We want to go to all the clubs. This is what. But so we're going less, but more quality. When we do go, so it's a bigger thing because a lot of 100%. Our players. I think we've only got maybe 2 players that are playing actively now, like Grant, who was on earlier, and Corey, funny enough. Yeah. They're the only 2 players that really are playing actively. They're both playing Sunday still. All the rest, we've all retired, give up. You know what I mean? They've gone on to have families and whatever. We've sort of jogged it on a bit. Yeah. Whereas these 2, the only 2 that are continuing to play. Yeah. So for us, playing a big game every 6 weeks is far more appealing than jumping up on a Sunday morning anymore.
Of course.
I've done that all my entire life.
There's different. We can have, as you said, the different teams can have different aims. If they want to play in the league, that's fine. If they want to just do an event or scheduled games in midweek or anything like that, that's fine. But the basis of it, as you say, is Calm84, and it's always got to be the belief and the empathy behind it, and the motto behind it. That's all it has to matter. You know what I mean? You can play wherever you want. You can have it, but if you're under the band of Calm84, this is the meaning behind Calm84. Not doesn't matter. Doesn't matter
how good you are. It doesn't matter how good you are. Your situation will have to be based. You've got to understand what it's like to, as you say, be affected yourself, or have been affected by mental health, and that could be again going into women's football. Yeah, 100%. Because we support Calm. We support Calm because it's quite dear to our heart, but we are supporting other charities. We're supporting Mind. We're going to help Shout. We're going to help all the other charities as well, Young Minds. Yeah. But we're going to do like a portion that will always go to Calm and always support Calm. Yeah. But then a portion will always go to what we call like other projects, like either community projects or charity projects. Yeah. And we are supporting lots of different mental health projects as well as. So whilst even as you say, we go out and do different like types of football, it doesn't, we will always, give that little bit to Calm, because that's that's sort of our basis.
Yeah.
But we will also help the communities in them areas and other charities close to their heart,
100%.
and also playing against other teams like Sands
Foundation.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is how we want to build it, Jay. This is my sort of dream for it. In the next year, we want to go from having our team and having a well-oiled machine to have maybe 10 teams by 2022.
Yeah.
And if I can get that going, whether that be 6-a-side, women's teams, men's teams,
whatever platform they want to do.
Whatever platform, we will help you. And the likes of me and Corey and Deano and Grant and you, Jay, we will help them develop. We will help them play as a team, get together as a club, but mainly understand mental health. This is, and they will be added to these groups, these chats. Yeah. So that's the big dream in the future for Calm84. So hopefully there'll be more on that come the new year. We've got to obviously see what the pandemic's saying, but we're definitely in talks with a few people to get that kicked off.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, listen, lads, thank you very much for coming on tonight. I know we've massively overrun, and I'm sure we could probably do another 2 hours talking about it. Jay, we would love you to come back on at some point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, in the new year we'll sort it out, and I'll come back.
My voice is exhausted.
You're a sub.
You don't stop talking, Corey.
and poor Corey, he sits in the green room and he helps out on our comments and stuff, whatever. And he said tonight he's feeling a bit under the weather tonight. So he said, "Look, I'm going to sit out in the green room, and you lot do your thing." But he was an ideal sub. Yeah. When Grant went off, we brought Corey on.
Yeah,
and I think you've done a fine job there, mate.
Yeah, man of the match, cool.
Man of the match, Corey.
Definitely.
Well, thank you all,
much.
Deano. Thank you as ever, mate. Yeah. And Jamie, it's an absolute pleasure.
I love it.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for opening up to us tonight, and really, it really obviously affects me. I'm going to be thinking about that this evening, and it's only going to be of benefit to all those that watch this podcast in the next few days. But again, mate, we'd love to have you on as a regular presenter with us.
Mate. And as much as I can,
you're free, that'll be amazing.
As much as I can, just let me know, and as much as I can be on, I'll be on, mate.
That'll be lovely. And any of our boys are always happy to jump on your let us talk if you're ever stuck for a guest.
100%.
Just give me and they've all got a story, and they'd all love to come on. So if ever you're ever stuck for a guest, let us know, and the boys would love to come on.
100%, mate.
Before we go, should we do a quick spine?
Do what?
England spine.
Right,
you want to think?
Go on, Cos. Spine.
All right, good. So my goalkeeper would probably be David Seaman as well. Centre back would have to be Ferdinand. Rio Ferdinand.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, Ferdinand.
Centre mid would have to be, I'd have to go Lampard.
Nice.
And up front,
Frankie Lampard.
Up front, I'd have to go with Rooney.
That's a good team.
That would be my spine.
Good team. Good spine. It's a strong spine. Deano, you got a spine for us?
Like Corey, Seaman in goal.
Yeah.
Ferdinand.
Yeah.
It was a toss-up between Gerrard and Scholes, but I'll go Scholes.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, and I'm a Liverpool footballer, but I'll go Scholes. And I was thinking about Owen up front, but I'm going to do Rashford.
Oh, sorry?
Marcus Rashford.
Oi, nice. New player, relevant player, eh?
Yeah, I was gonna say Owen, but I'm liking what Rashford is doing off the pitch. I like the athleticism he has on the pitch. I think in terms of that athleticism, I think he kind of pips Michael Owen. Although Michael Owen is a prolific striker, and in his day he rocked the world.
He was unbelievable.
In his day, he was unbelievable. But I'm going to go for Rashford.
Jay, you got yours?
See, I like to be different. I don't like all the same names, but some of them are hard not to obviously put in. But I'll probably have to say Seaman. Then I'll go somebody different because other people have said the other ones. But I'll go Tony Adams.
That was going to be mine.
I'll go Tony Adams.
Yeah.
Then in the middle, to be fair, I've got to go with Scholesy. Just technically unbelievable, if I'm being honest. So underrated and such a humble person. Never really wanted the limelight. Never really had. If you look at it, interviews after the games, anything like that. Just a humble
one cracker
person.
of a long shot.
Yeah,
One
ridiculous.
cracker, and no one knows what his kids or his wife and that look like because he doesn't do it.
Doesn't do it.
He doesn't. And so striker,
Harry Kane.
Oh, that's not. That is a different one. Harry Kane. People don't think about Kane, do they? I think he's underrated. I think a lot of people overrate him, and then some people underrate him.
Listen, you can't knock his goal scoring record.
Look at Deano.
He's a good goal scorer, yeah, but I'm not impressed. Well, do you know what? Yeah, I call Harry Kane
how do you adapt to this game this season?
A Poundland Peter Crouch.
Hey, he's adapted his game this season. He's allowed Song to go in behind.
He's
been and for assists.
He scores goals. Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's a good player when he scores goals, but would Harry Kane get into your team? Would the team that you support, would he make it into your team?
Yeah, I mean Millwall.
He did play for Millwall.
So yeah,
he did play for Millwall.
He actually come on loan to Millwall. He actually come on loan to Millwall when he was younger.
Yeah, he actually did. I'm gonna go for mine. I mean, we've all said David Seaman, but it's hard to look past David Seaman for your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Seaman. I'm going to still go Adams because, again, hard to look past Adams.
The only other one was Sol Campbell, maybe.
Yeah, Sol Campbell was unbelievable as well. Adams, I just like Adams because he was he was so hard.
If not for the injuries, I would say Ledley King as well. But
he was very good, wasn't he?
Unbelievable.
He was very. But Adams for me, he's got to go in.
Oh, okay.
For a couple of reasons, apart from his footballing. We spoke to him lately and we're trying to get him on to be a patron. So he's definitely going in for a centre-back for me. So if you watch this, mate, I've gave you this one. So Adams is coming in. Centre-mid, obviously being United supporter, Scholes. I love Lampard. Absolutely love Lampard his whole career.
Yeah.
Love him. Scholes, again, love him. Gerrard, brilliant. But for me, I'm going with the biggest crybaby there is, Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah.
Gascoigne in his prime for me in
ridiculous.
Centre mid. I just didn't see anyone around him at the time, even in England, in Italy, who could touch him. There was not a better footballer. I've never seen a better footballer on the same pitch as him in his prime. I just didn't. For me, and I was short and fat as I am now, and everyone used to call me Gazza when I was a kid. So I'm going to go with Gazza. And up front again, I think we sort of hit the nail on the head with Shearer and Kane and that. I'm gonna go for something different because I love the bloke. Ian Wright for me was just unbelievable. Club football for Arsenal. I used to watch him and I used to just think he was unbelievable for Arsenal. If he could ever do that on an England pitch,
he didn't. I don't think he did, but I don't think he got the overall opportunity for England that he should have really got.
He said it as well, didn't he? In his documentary, he said I've come up with these guys who were all good at the time. But for me, when he played for Arsenal in his prime, Ian Wright was for me one of the best strikers I'd ever seen in my life. So if he could have just go for something different,
you could say the same as Andy Cole, really, underachieved for England as well.
But club football was unbelievable, wasn't he? Newcastle that season before he come to United, especially. Yeah, like he couldn't stop scoring 2s and 3s most games, wasn't it? It was ridiculous. Well, thank you, lads. I know again I say we've run over, but we could probably go for 4 hours talking about football and mental health. But we'll get on again, all of us again at some point.
Definitely.
Pleasure, mate, and we'd definitely love to have you back on when you can. All right?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Speak to you soon.
Thanks a lot, lads. Love to all the families, and I'll see you later. Cheers, Deano. Corey.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, lads. Bye.
Take care, guys.
See ya.
Bye.